Hey everybody, thanks for coming back. Today we're going to talk about how to use functions to find the volume of two different types of prisms as well as cylinders. Okay, so let's start with the volume of rectangular prisms. We are going to use this function, volume equals length times width times height, to find the volume of rectangular prisms. So in our table, if you have a rectangular prism with a pointer with a length of 7, a width of 3, and a height of 6, you plug that into your formula, which would be volume equals 7 times 3 times 6, and you get 126. Let's complete our table together. If you have a rectangular prism with a length of 5, a width of 4, and a height of 8, your formula will be V equals 5 times 4 times 8. 5 times 4 is 20, and 20 times 8 is 160. So that's your volume. If you have a rectangular prism with a length of 3, a width of 7, and a height of 5, your formula will be V equals 3 times 7 times 5. 3 times 7 is 21, and 21 times 5 is 105. Finally, if you have a prism with a length of 4, a width of 8, and a height of 2, your volume will be volume equals 4 times 8 times 2. 4 times 8 is 32, and 32 times 2 is 64. So that's your volume there. Okay, when working with rectangular prisms, you will use the function volume equals 1/2 times length times width times height. All right, so if you have a triangular prism with a length of 7, a width of 3, and a height of 6, your function will be 1/2 times 7 times 3 times 6, which is 63. So let's do the rest of these together. All right, if you have a triangular prism with a length of 5, a width of 2, or a width of 4, and a height of 8, your function will be 1/2 times 5 times 4 times 8. 1/2 times 5 is 2.5. 2.5 times 4 is 10. And 10 times 8 is 80. So that's your volume. If you have a triangular prism with a length of 3, a width of 7, and a height of 5, plug that into your formula and you get 1/2 times 3 times 7 times 5. Multiply straight across. So 1/2 times 3 would be 1.5. 1.5 times 7 is, I believe, 10.5. And then 10.5 times 5 is 52.5. And finally, if you have a triangular prism with a length of 4, a width of 8, and a height of 2, the formula will be volume equals 1/2 times 4 times 8 times 2. 1/2 times 4 is 2. 2 times 8 is 16. And 16 times 2 is 32. All right. Moving right along. Finally, we're going to look at the volume of cylinders. To find the volume of a cylinder, we use this formula. Volume equals pi r squared times the height of the cylinder. All right. So what we really need is the radius of our circle and the height of our cylinder. Pi is always, we will always use 3.14. So for example, if you have a cylinder with a radius of 3 and a height of 6, your formula will be volume equals 3.14 times 3 squared times 6. You have to square 3 first. 3 squared is 9, and then you would multiply straight across 3.14 times 9 times 6. You get 169.56. All right, so if you have a cylinder with a radius of 4 and a height of 8, we would do 3.14 times 4 squared times 8. 4 squared is 16, so 3.14 times 16 times 8 will give us a volume of 401.92. All right, if we have a cylinder with a radius of 7 and a height of 5, we would do 3.14 times 7 squared times 5. 7 squared is 49. So we do 3.14 times 49 times 5 to get 769.3. Finally, if we have a cylinder with a radius of 8 and a height of 2, our formula would be volume equals 3.14 times 8 squared times 2. 8 squared is 64. So we do 3.14 times 64 times 2 and get 401.92. Now, look at that. Okay. And that's all I have for using functions to determine the volume of a figure.